You know how quite often you hear someone saying that you need to release a block or work on yourself or go deeper into yourself. So there's a lot of people saying that, but how do you do it? How do you actually do it? If you're somebody that doesn't meditate well, you know, you fall asleep in meditation, or you just get halfway through listening and then your mind just wanders off somewhere. How do you actually, what are tools that what is a really good tool that you can use that will allow you to get into yourself? Because when you go to a therapist, when you go to a spiritual counselor or someone like that, you're talking to them, they will give you a question. They give you a question so that you need to find the answer for yourself. And that's a very good therapist, because they're not giving their opinion. They're giving you a question so that you can find the answer that's already within you. If you can't get to a therapist or you can't talk to somebody like that, you can actually do the work for yourself with just a pen and paper. And you write yourself a question. And because when you write on paper and then you read it back to yourself, it's like you've got it out of your body. And when you write yourself the answer, it's in there. The answer is in there. You're just allowing it to come out through your writing. So I had a stage there where I was struggling with when somebody gifted me something that I either didn't need or I didn't like, or it wasn't a gift that I would be useful for me. And it was triggering to me. And rather than focusing on, well, this person is only giving from the best way they know how, I was more focused on, why don't they know me, or why don't they go into the effort to know me as well as I know them? And so I used this system of writing down on a piece of paper. First of all, I wrote the question, why is it so hard for me to accept gifts from other people? And then I wrote another question to myself, because I was thinking on that question and nothing was really coming through. So then I wrote another question as, why do I want to give to other people but I struggle to receive? Or why do I make judgments about someone, the gifts that someone else buys? So I started off by writing down questions like that. And each time I wrote a question, the answers were starting to unfold in my mind. And it's like a thought. It's like a thought that starts to unfold. And this thought unfolding was unfolding around, excuse me, I have such a dry throat lately. This thought was unfolding around the judgment I was making upon other people, that they should be at the same level that I'm at. So if I've put so much effort into a gift and I know I've listened, I've really listened to what somebody else was saying, I've listened to what their interests are, I've listened to what they said they would like. If I've put all that effort into that other person, I was expecting other people to do the same to me. And there was a realization that they can't. They can't. They're not like me. They are not me. They're on a totally different level. They may be somebody who doesn't even listen. When you're having a conversation with them, in their head, they could be thinking about something for themselves. They're not even listening to what I'm saying. They may be someone who's not organised, so rushes out and buys a gift at the last minute just for the sake of giving something. There was all these reasons started appearing for me to understand that it wasn't about me. It was about the level, just the level that they're at, and they still gave something from the intention of wanting to give something. So then I had to just work on, ask myself the question, is it possible for me to just accept that that person gave from the best way they knew how, forgetting all about what the gift was or what it was supposed to mean to me? Just, can I see it from that perspective? And then I can give myself a yes. Then I could write down, yes, I can do that. And it kind of frees it up. So the next time someone gave me, after I did this exercise, the next time someone gave me something that was something I totally wouldn't use, I still had that really deep appreciation that they went to the trouble to give me something from the best way they knew how. And then I just unforwarded the gift. It wasn't something that I was going to use, so I forwarded it on to someone else that I felt like could use it. And there was also, as I was doing this exercise, there was also this thought that came up. It's like a flash of an event that happened in my past. When I was very young, I probably about 7 years of age, my mum had bought me a charm bracelet, and my auntie had gone overseas and bought me a charm and brought back, and someone else had given me a charm. I had about 4 charms on this bracelet, and I had lost one. One had come off, so they weren't welded on. They were just sort of, the little round thing was just clicked into it, and somehow I had lost one of them. Well, my mum went into orbit that I'd lost it. She got so angry with me, and for some unknown reason, the rest of the charm, I ended up losing the rest of the charms. Maybe because of that bad experience with one, I manifested it so that I ended up losing them all. And then there was this thought that I am very uncomfortable in my adult life if somebody gifts me something that's expensive, because there is this thought, this deep-seated thought there, that I am not responsible enough to have that, and I may lose it like I did as a child. Can you see how? And when I got to the bottom of that, then I had to have a little discussion with myself that I was just a child. That's a lot of responsibility to carry for just a 7-year-old child. And now I'm an adult, and I can look after things, and I can be responsible. And even if I did lose something, it's not the end of the world. So just by changing that little narrative story in my head, it's been a lot easier for me to just accept things. And every now and again, it's something that just rises up. And it just happened recently where I actually sat down and had another little talk to myself about it's okay to receive things from people. I don't have to be the giver all the time. It's okay to receive. I am worthy. I've got to say those words. I am worthy. I am deserving. And I was doing an exercise. This isn't that long ago. I was doing an exercise where I was having that little self-talk. And I find when I write it down and then read it back to myself, it sticks a lot better. And this lady just sent me some money. And my instant reaction was, oh my goodness, she's given me way too much money. So I refunded it within 2 minutes and said, you've paid me way too much money. I've sent it back. And then she wrote back and she said, no, I did that intentionally. I thought it was an accident. So still, that initial reaction is still there with me to think, oh my goodness, someone can't give me that much money. I'll have to give some back. But her intention was to give that money. So I then thanked her, and she ended up re-giving it back to me again. And it was kind of like I was trying to learn a lesson for myself, and she was picking up somewhere across the other side of the world that I was trying to learn something, and she was going to be a cooperative component to that lesson. So her instinct, just out of the blue, told her to send me some money. It was for a service, but I thought it was too much. And she said, you are so valuable for what you have helped me through that I'm going to give you more than what you think you deserve. You see how I was trying to learn this lesson, and the universe was just helping through somebody else who was in a position to help me, how it lined up. And it was a lesson for me to just accept that people want to give you things, and it doesn't always have to be, that I have to give and I can't have anything in return. So it's that when you start unblocking, like me realizing, oh my goodness, my mum was really mad with me when I broke something as a child, or me having that thought that people have to gift to me the way that I gift to them. Once I worked on that, you see how an experience just showed up where something came to me freely and it gave me the experience that I needed. So now it's kind of like it clears the way. And you can do this on anything. If you're struggling to lose weight, you know, you can't stay motivated. You write things down on a bit of paper, like how do I see food? You'd write a question like, how do I see food? And then you write down, well, I just need food to sustain me. Or you might think, I love food. Food is the dying. I love the taste. I love the smell. I love to cook. Then write something like, but do I have boundaries around food? And if you write no, then you say, why don't I have boundaries around food? You keep asking a question with another question. I don't have boundaries around food because it was never taught to me. Or my mother used to tell me that I should appreciate that I have food on the table, or you should eat everything on your plate. You cannot leave the table until you have eaten everything on the plate. Now, even when you're full, you're still sitting there stuffing your face with food because it was taught to you. Just getting down to that layer of where is that thought? Where is the thought around that particular topic? And then when you become aware, like if you become aware that, oh my goodness, I was always taught to eat everything on my plate and not waste food, when you get to that thought, you start to realize why you eat more than you need to eat. You're just not eating to sustain you. You're eating way too much. Or am I bored? Do I just go and eat something when I'm bored? Or do I actually stop and say, what does my body feel like? How many times have you gone and grabbed something quickly and eaten it just because you feel hungry without asking your body first, what does it feel like? Or I'm just lazy and I can't be bothered putting something together, so I grab something that's quick and it's usually got a lot of sugar in it. It's an awareness that's the thought pattern that's there. Like if I say to myself, I'm not motivated and I'm lazy, but then I go, why? I'll ask another question like, why am I not motivated and why am I lazy? Because I'm not putting my body first. I'm putting my mind first. I'm putting convenience first, but I'm not actually putting the actual body first. I'll keep asking a question until I can get it's like peeling the layers back on the onion. And that's what therapy does, exactly what therapy does. They will ask the questions for you till you get your answers. So you can do the same thing, even with money. My dad is a classic for his whole entire life, and he even said it, like I saw him on the weekend, and he said it again on the weekend. Your mother and I never had much money, but we always had enough. It was drummed into me and drummed into me and drummed into me that that's the way it should be. You should just have enough, because if you have any more, that's greedy. And it was the way that my family was structured. It was like I could never have, I probably could, but Mum would never spend on anything that was a brand label because it was expensive. So she would get the same style, but it was sort of like Levi jeans when I was at school were expensive, but if you went to Target, they weren't expensive jeans. So I would get the Target brand and not the Levi's, but then kids at school had Levi's and I felt left out, because you do when you're a teenager. So my whole life it was like, you can't have the best. You can't have the expensive stuff. It was taught. It's a belief system. And when it's instilled in you for the first 18 years of your life, it's very, very hard to unravel that. So by doing the exercise where you write things down, like where does this belief come from? Well, it was not my belief. It was my mum and my dad's belief. So why am I living from their belief? And even the other day when he said the same words to me, I looked at him and thought, that's your belief. I do not have to carry that belief. It's the same as when somebody says something about you, even if they say it to your face, it's their belief system. It doesn't make it true for you. So every time someone says something now towards me, or they say, like my dad, when he says that, I will just look at him, and in my mind I think to myself, that is your belief. I do not have to carry that belief. That doesn't have to be my belief. And then I can let it go. So yeah, any kind of subject that you're kind of trying to see if you've got a block there, or why isn't something working, and you just go, oh, even relationships, why do I keep finding the same people? Write the question down onto a piece of paper and then write yourself an answer. And sometimes if the answer doesn't come, just write another question. Just keep writing a question to yourself, because eventually the answer comes, and sometimes it comes a couple of days later. Out of the blue, you're just like, oh yeah, something happened. And now I get why I've got that belief system stuck there. And it's just that awareness of having the belief system that actually lets it go. You don't really have to do anything with it. It's just like, I'm aware now. And that makes you think differently. And another really good exercise is, if you've got a question and you're not sure what you should do, I always use the pros and cons column. So you just get your piece of paper and you write all the pros and all the cons. So let's say, should I go and live in a different town? Should I go and live in a different town? Okay. The pros are, I would meet new people. It'll be a great new experience. There'd be new energy around me. My sinuses might actually clear up because it might be a better atmosphere. And then over in the cons would write, I don't have the money for it at the moment, or I couldn't afford it at the moment, or there's no jobs over there, or the housing is expensive in that area. So then you write down all the cons, and then have a look at the end which list is longer. Because if it's all the positives is a lot longer, it's probably a good idea, because you've already kind of convinced yourself that's what you want to do. If the negative side of things, or the difficulties are going to be bigger, then it's not the right time. It's not time to go. And it makes you think, when you're writing down the positive things and you're writing down the negative things, it makes you really think about this decision. There's some thoughts that will come up that you hadn't thought of because you're getting it down on paper. So give it a try. Use your pen and paper and get those thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper. And I hope everyone has a lovely day. The 1st of June, we are winter here in Australia. I had my birthday yesterday, so 61 yesterday. So I hope everyone has a great day and a great week.